You know that feeling when you're in a debate about some big idea and it just feels like you're going in circles, right? It feels like it's all just opinion. But what if there's a better way? Well, there is. Philosophers have spent centuries honing a special set of tools for thinking clearly and building solid arguments. And today, we're going to open up that toolkit.
Okay, so we live in an age of just incredible scientific knowledge, right? Science is absolutely brilliant at explaining how a star burns or how a cell divides. But it often stops short of the why. Why should we be good? What does a truly just society actually look like? These are exactly the kinds of questions philosophy is designed to tackle. So, where do we even begin?
Well, the answer is you've got to have the right tools. I mean, think about it like this. You can't build a solid house without a good toolkit, right? The very same thing goes for building a solid worldview. And that's exactly what philosophy gives us. It provides that toolkit, a powerful set of methods for building clear, well-supported beliefs about the world and our place in it.
All right, so part one, the raw materials. Every good project, and I mean every project, starts with high-quality raw materials. For a philosopher, that material is evidence. And no, they're not in a lab mixing chemicals, but they do draw on some very specific sources to ground their arguments in reality. So, where do philosophers get this evidence? Well, they gather it from about 5 main areas. They look to history, they consult their own intuition, they rely on good old common sense, they can even use experiments, and they pull in findings from other fields like science. Let's actually dive into a couple of these because they're super interesting. Okay, let's start with intuition. Now, in everyday life, when we say intuition, we usually mean a gut feeling. But in philosophy, it's something way, way stronger. Thinkers like René Descartes talked about it as this moment of pure mental clarity, an idea that's so clear and distinct that you just find it impossible to doubt. And this right here is the perfect example. Just take a second, seriously, really try, to doubt that 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's almost impossible, isn't it? The truth of it just feels completely self-evident. If that one little thing was somehow false, our entire system of math would just collapse. That powerful, unshakable sense of certainty, that's philosophical intuition. And that brings us to another key source of evidence, common sense. So there's this early 20th century philosopher, G.E. Moore, who made this famously simple argument. He just held up his hand and said, "Here is one hand." And that was it. His point was that some facts, things based on our direct sense perception, are so fundamental they don't need some complex proof. We just know our hand exists. It's a solid, common sense starting point. So let's do a quick recap of our raw materials. We've got insights from history, the clarity of intuition, the grounding of common sense, and of course, findings from modern experiments and other sciences. These are our building blocks. This is what we have to work with. Okay, so we've got our raw materials, but a pile of wood and nails isn't a house, right? You need a blueprint. You need assembly instructions. And in philosophy, that blueprint, that's logic. Logic is basically the science of reasoning that lets us assemble all that evidence into a sound, stable structure. So what does logic actually do? Well, at its core, it helps us analyze arguments. And just to be clear, an argument isn't a shouting match. It's just a conclusion that's supported by reasons. We call those reasons premises. For example, premise 1, all humans are mortal. Premise 2, Socrates is a human. So the conclusion has to be, therefore, Socrates is mortal. See how that works? The first step is always to identify those parts before you can even begin to check if the structure holds up. And this leads us to a really key goal, coherence. I want you to think of your beliefs like a house of cards. Each card is a single belief. Now, what happens if one card contradicts another? Let's say you believe all life is sacred, but you also believe it's okay to harm this specific person. Well, your structure is incoherent. It is logically impossible for both of those to be true at the same time. The whole thing is just waiting to collapse. And logic, that's the tool we use to find those weak spots. All right, part 3. So, a builder with dull tools is going to build a pretty weak house, right? Well, it's the exact same thing with our ideas. Before we can build strong arguments, we have to make sure our concepts, the actual tools of our thoughts, are sharp and precise. And this process, it's called conceptual analysis. Now, one of the coolest tools for sharpening our ideas is the thought experiment. Seriously, you can think of it like a philosopher's personal laboratory. By creating a totally imaginary scenario, we can isolate a single concept and just test its limits, push it to see what its logical consequences are in a totally controlled environment. Here's a great example from Aristotle. He wanted to challenge the idea of a void, pure empty space. So he asked this: if there's truly nothing between 2 points, how can there even be a distance between them? Doesn't distance have to be measured through something? Now, whether you agree with him or not isn't the point. The question itself forces you to get crystal clear about what you even mean by the word space. And what's funny is we actually do this kind of analysis all the time without even realizing it. When we use what philosophers call definite descriptions, all we're doing is clarifying our concepts. So if there are 2 Kevins in the office and you say, "Kevin used the paper," that's ambiguous. But if you add a unique detail, the one with the picture of his kids on his desk, boom, you've created a precise reference. Philosophy just applies that exact same rigor to much bigger ideas.
So to wrap this section up, we sharpen our ideas in a few ways. We analyze descriptive terms or predicates, like what actually makes something yellow. We use definite descriptions to pinpoint exactly what we're talking about. We use enumeration to break a big concept down into its essential parts. And of course, we run thought experiments to really test the limits of our ideas.
All right, so we've gathered our evidence, we've used logic to build an argument, and we've sharpened our concepts. But listen, philosophy is not a neat and tidy process. A lot of the time, we build a position that is super strong and logical, but it leads to some really uncomfortable conclusions. And this is the final, and maybe the most difficult stage, the reality check. And this is where we face a choice. Sometimes you have to bite the bullet. That means you just accept a tough, maybe even unpleasant conclusion, because the logic that got you there is just too strong to ignore. But other times, you can seek what's called reflective equilibrium. This is more like a balancing act. Imagine your general principle is never lie, but that clashes with a specific case, like lying to protect someone's life. Well, you adjust both your principle and your judgment about that case. You go back and forth until they finally sit comfortably together. And there you have it, a glimpse into the philosopher's toolkit. It's a whole method for taking on life's biggest questions with real rigor, clarity, and intellectual honesty. And I want to be clear, this is not just some abstract academic exercise. Learning how to source evidence, structure your arguments, clarify your own ideas, and weigh the consequences, these are skills for life. These are tools for anyone who wants to build a more thoughtful and examined world for themselves. So I'm going to leave you with a question. You now have a map to the philosopher's toolkit. So what's one big, important belief that you hold that could maybe benefit from being put through this process? What are its premises? Is it really coherent? What are the consequences if you're right? The toolkit is yours.